I first saw him at EBI competing against world-class grapplers like Gordon Ryan. And now here he is in the SparStar cage fighting for the title.
Literally fighting since he was a baby. Lebosnoyani's godfather, none other than Royce Gracie. Lebosnoyani's father owned a gym. This guy's been training, as I said, since he's 3 years old. You see our former broadcast partner, T-City Ortega, in his corner there. This guy is the real deal McCoy. But tonight, he has perhaps his toughest test to date. Djavan Coleman.
Yeah, Djavan Coleman is no pushover, bringing in a record of 4-0 himself. Matthew Spencer is in the house, SparStar vet.
And he's always got to give me a gorilla hug and mess up my hair. You know, Lebosnoyani, I saw him fight on short notice once before. He took a fight on, I think, a day's notice. Won that fight, TKO, very first round. But you know, Kevin, we've seen it a million times before. You can't win the fight on pedigree alone. You actually got to get in the cage and put the work in.
Well, I think, and this is not to discredit any of his past opponents, but this is definitely going to be his largest test. I've seen 2 of his fights before, and the opponents were very green. They took the fight on short notice, I think, and Lebosnoyani made quick work of them. I'm not sure about all 5 of his fights, but I'm pretty sure Djavan's going to be his largest test. No shortage of confidence, though, from John Paul. Trains with monsters. As you mentioned, been fighting his whole life. So, should be just another day at the office for him. I'd like to see him, I know he can grapple, obviously, very high-level grappler. I'd like to see him on the feet and see his resilience against another high-level striker.
Djavan Coleman makes his way to the cage, fighting at Oceanside, California. Coleman weighed in 170.7 pounds, right on the money for the welterweight division. And Kevin, this fight is for the SparStar welterweight title. I believe it's an interim title. The winner of this bout will undoubtedly put himself in a unique position to unify that crown later this year.
Yeah, Lebosnoyani, I'm looking at his record now. His last fight was against a guy who was 0-0. Fight before that, his opponent was 0-2. Fight before that, opponent was 0-0. So this is going to be his first test, his first real test. He's fought basically all very green opponents prior to Coleman.
Lebosnoyani getting loose. He's got a pretty cool nickname too. He goes by Mufasa.
Yes. From I can't source the cartoon or show.
I'm sure it has something to do with a lion.
I was going to say it's maybe Lion King. I don't know.
Djavan Coleman makes his way to his corner, getting some last-minute instructions from the referee. All right, it's time to get this one going. Let's send it up to Jim Fitzgerald for the official introduction.
For the Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the red corner. He is wearing black trunks to rip in gold. He is training out of Team BBS and Carlson Gracie South Bay by way of Hermosa Beach, California. He weighed in 171 pounds. He brings to the cage an undefeated record, 5 wins, no losses, with all 5 wins coming by way of submission. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Djavan His opponent across the cage on my left, fighting out of the blue corner. He is wearing black trunks to rip in red. He is training out of Excel Jiu-Jitsu by way of Oceanside, California. He weighed in 170 pounds. His record, undefeated, 4 wins, no losses, with 2 wins coming by way of submission. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Djavan Coleman. Once again, our referee in charge, Jonathan Romero, to give final instruction.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the mothership has landed. The main event is here. SparStar MMA 170-pound title on the line. Coleman versus Lebosnoyani. Let's get this thing going. Coleman charging across the cage.
Looking to push John Paul up against the cage. John Paul having none of it, reverses that position quickly. Spinning around for the arm block. Coleman's gonna have to be careful here. Switching to a front headlock, guillotine perhaps.
Nice trip from Coleman. Lebosnoyani making him pay for this
Oh, those hurt. Coleman
single leg entry here.
and those hurt too. Coleman had to abandon that takedown to get his hand up to defend those hammer fists.
Ooh, nasty knee to the midsection from Lebosnoyani. Mufasa absolutely mauling his opponent
Oh, he
earlier.
might have broken his arm. Coleman might have
he's
broken
got
his
it.
arm. He's got an arm bar in deep, and
That's
that's
it.
I think Coleman's right arm, I guess he's all right. It looked like his right arm was hurt.
John Paul Lebosnoyani moves Mufasa. Emphatic first round submission.
Let's take a look at the replay. Wow, that slam. Coleman landed on his arm awkwardly, and I swore it was broken. But it was the other arm that Lebosnoyani took home with him.
See, he's got his hands clasped behind the back there. Looking for the inside trip, not there for Coleman. Ends up putting all his weight in one direction. And that enables Lebosnoyani to connect his hips and send him for a ride.
Oh, and the referee blocked our view of his right arm, which I thought was mangled, but he was okay. Lebosnoyani spins around for this 180 arm lock. Beautiful technique. You see how the right leg comes over the head, but he doesn't need the left leg over the hip to finish. You can finish with your knee in the armpit of the opponent. Beautiful technique from John Paul.
Unbelievable first round win. We have ourselves a new champion.
Jonathan King now going to head up into the cage and get a word with the champion, John Paul Lebosnoyani. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Another flawless victory, fast and furious.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 43 seconds of round number 1, referee in charge, Jonathan Romero, stops the contest due to a tap out from an arm bar. Our winner, he is still undefeated. He's also the new SparStar Promotions interim welterweight champion, Djavan ladies and gentlemen, once again from the ClinchReport.com, Jonathan King.
John Paul Lebosnoyani, oh my God, but let's put our hands together for his opponent here, Djavan Coleman. Guy came out like a pit bull. I didn't think he was going to come at you like that. He surprised you?
Thankfully, we had some videos, so I kind of knew what was coming. He was a jiu-jitsu guy, I knew the takedown was going to come, but to be honest, jiu-jitsu is my world. I've been doing it since I was 3 years old, and I just trusted my instincts, and I did what I came here to do.
You know, I'm hard-pressed to find, or in my mind, to think of a more talented young prospect than the man standing before me right now. Only 18 years of age. I believe this was your 6th amateur fight. All 6 fights this year, all 6 by first-round decision. The sky's the limit for you, young man. What's next? What's next on the agenda?
What's next? I'm going to talk to my team. We're going to celebrate. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to go back to training on Monday for sure. But there's one thing I want to say, is that 7 months ago, my first fight, some of you guys were there, I know, and I said that this year I would have a belt around my waist. And when I say something, I do it. I put in hard work, and when I say something, I do it. And that's all the glory to God, to my team, to my family, and I wouldn't be here without these guys right here. I say this every time. Brian Ortega flew out from Vegas just to corner me. That's love right there. And that's something, and my coach Pablo, he's been improving my stand game, showed here, and I trusted my instincts and it worked out. And one thing is, I think we need a lot more of that. We need a lot more love in the world, especially right now. Just like Brian came out here to corner me, that's love. We need love in the world. There's too much hate. So let's do this, guys. Thank you.
One last thing. You have a little business to do. There's a camera right there. And I'm sure there's somebody watching at home by the name of Carlos Chavez, the other 170-pound SparStar champion. He's watching at home. You got a message for him?
Carlos Chavez, who? I've never heard about who that is. That's why I was concerned that there was only one belt, and this is the belt right here. Actually, to be honest, I had no idea who this person was. So.
Well, maybe we're going to see these two in the cage in the future. But right now, the night belongs to John Paul Lebosnoyani. Put your hands together for Mufasa, your new SparStar champion.